But first tonight, a story that began with a complaint to the News 4 I-team. In 2016, a development company bought a sprawling and well-known apartment building in Northeast D.C. And with millions of dollars in taxpayer-backed financing deals, Standard Communities promised to make housing more affordable for Washingtonians. But nearly a decade later, investigative reporter Ted Oberg and the News 4 I-team found complaints of serious housing violations at Fort Chaplain Park Apartments and questions about promises that many residents say have not been kept.
Standing in her still wet, fetid, and dark apartment, Jasmine Battle showed us how the laundry room near her basement apartment unit at Fort Chaplain Park Apartments flooded her home in February.
The water damaged my kids. The furniture, the mold got into the clothes. We couldn't take nothing.
She told us she's too embarrassed of what's become of her home to show her face. They didn't move you out right away?
No, they did not.
Did you ask to be moved out?
Yes, I did.
And what did they say?
They kept on saying they was going to put tickets in, they was going to come have somebody come out and fix it.
When the I-team visited Fort Chaplain Park Apartments in April, 2 months after the flood, the fixes to her unit still hadn't been made. You could still see the mud coming up through the subfloor. We found dead rodents, and someone's cat was living here, too. Oh, and the smell of mold, just take our word for it. At the time of our visit, Jasmine was living in a temporary unit she moved into in March, but still comes back to this one for clothes. She says her temporary place doesn't even have smoke detectors or working hot water.
How do you take a shower?
I got to keep boiling water.
Come on.
It's not what tenants hoped for 10 years ago when Standard Communities bought and redeveloped this historic 549-unit property in Ward 7. The $94 million deal was financed with $61 million in tax-exempt debt backed by D.C., another $30.2 million in low-income housing tax credits. It means 97% of this deal was subsidized by taxpayers like you.
We are investing in preserving affordable housing.
At the time, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser hailed renovations here as the largest tax-exempt affordable deal in D.C. history. It may be affordable, but dozens of residents here tell us their units are no longer livable. The problems found in Jasmine's unit are just some of the hundreds D.C. building inspectors found at Fort Chaplain. The district's database shows the Fort Chaplain Park Apartments have roughly 650 open violations for everything from failure to install carbon monoxide and smoke detectors to unsafe electrical equipment, rodents, and even more. It is on average more than one violation per unit here, with Standard racking up more than $600,000 in unpaid fines. The problems in Jasmine's apartment were so bad the D.C. Housing Authority inspected it in March and found water-damaged floors, rodent infestations, and still standing water in the nearby laundry room. The unit failed inspection.
It was the most beautiful property in Northeast. Everybody wanted to be in Fort Chaplain.
ANC Commissioner and resident Kimmery Arendorf says the Fort Chaplain he grew up nearby was famous for its meticulous upkeep. But now,
This has been open since January.
this was one of several unsecured units we saw, and
So watch your step.
Marie Ellis, she's been here more than 20 years, and says the problems have mounted under the Franklin Group, which manages the property for Standard.
We had an incident where half of my apartment lost electric and I had to run extension cords in order to run my CPAP machine.
So the electric,
That went out.
you get it fixed?
That took, I think, 2-3 weeks.
But how long's your stove been out?
About a week now.
Neighbors like Michael Lewis told us he just now fixes what he can himself. Well, why can't you just call the maintenance?
They're not going to come.
How do you know?
I know. Everybody know. They don't come.
Those sound like terrible conditions.
Keith Parsons oversees enforcement at D.C.'s Department of Buildings and says while the database shows serious outstanding violations, Standard has fixed hundreds more, and they're no longer publicly listed. Are you satisfied and okay, let the process go and we'll check back in later?
Well, I'm not satisfied. I won't be satisfied until they're all fixed.
In the meantime, his team has stepped up inspections of the property, and he left open the possibility of legal action, as the I-team found some of these violations go back several years.
We've already talked to the Attorney General.
About this property?
Yes.
The Attorney General's office declined to comment, and no one from Standard Communities would sit down with us for an interview, but a PR rep sent us a statement saying they share their residents' frustration, adding the property has not been managed to the standards we require, and we've taken direct action to address it. Standard tells us they're replacing the property management company this month and said they're working with the Department of Buildings to systematically clear outstanding violations. That property manager, Franklin Group, told the I-Team they take the concerns raised by our residents seriously, and we welcome direct communication from any residents with unresolved concerns. Jasmine says the toll of her damaged home has made her and her children sick from the mold and the stress. And the rules on her housing voucher mean she can't just move out.
This is crazy. Like, I never even knew that we would let somebody live.
It's tough to see, really tough to see. The story began with a call from some residents who said they couldn't get straight answers on easy things like how much their rental account balances was, to whether they'd be able to actually use the beautiful pool the company advertises on its rental website. It had been closed in recent years, but just today, a spokesperson tells us it is open for the summer. Standard, by the way, has these affordable housing projects across the United States. And we asked them if they'd be willing to discuss the issues at Fort Chaplain or some of the issues nationwide managing affordable housing, but they said no to every request. In that prepared statement, though, Sean, they said they are committed to fixing the problems and they're in it for the long haul.
You know, just watching that, I felt for her. Nobody should have to live like that. And it seems unfathomable that the management company or whomever hasn't fixed all of these challenges that go back years. And then where's the city to hold them accountable for this?
I think a couple things, right? The maintenance staff, it's apparently tough to keep, to get and keep good maintenance staff at apartment complexes like this, that's for sure. I think the other thing is, look, there are plenty of government agencies, whether it's the city protecting the millions of dollars in investments that they made through some of the incentives that they gave this complex, or the housing authority that is allowing their residents who have vouchers to live there in these conditions. There are an awful lot of people who should be watching out to make sure it doesn't look like this and that our neighbors don't have to live this way.
Absolutely. I keep going at them, hold
well,
them accountable.
let's hope,
I mean,
right?
like, just to see anyone having to live like that's not good. It's not good at all. My heart goes out to them. Thank you for your reporting. I appreciate it.